Congressman from Indiana, good to see you. Are we good now?
Yes, Vanessa, great to be with you. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We made it because I have a lot to talk about with you, so I'm glad we were able to figure that out. A busy week in Washington. What can you tell us? Is there any end in sight? Is there light at the end of the tunnel with this government shutdown?
Well, actually, we just got a text message from Speaker Mike Johnson about 30 minutes ago that he is not planning on having the House of Representatives convene next week, like we planned on Monday. So his comments were that we're going to wait until Senate Democrats decide to vote for the continuing resolution that we've already passed 2 weeks ago. It seems like this Schumer shutdown continues until they can find a couple more senators on the Democrat side to vote for what they've already voted for earlier this spring. This is a continuing resolution that they voted for, and there's no reason why they had to shut the government down to try to negotiate on something that expires at the end of the year today. So it's really a wait-and-see game and to see what Chuck Schumer decides to do.
You know, and the Democrats, again, choosing illegal aliens over Americans. You know, when it comes to, we saw it a lot during the campaign trail. We were seeing it a lot this year. They are more concerned, Congressman, with giving them free housing and free health care than they are taking care of Americans. Digging deeper into that, we hear about it, but why is that? What is their ultimate goal in doing this?
That's a great question, Vanessa. I mean, I remember the old Democrat Party, how they were a tax and spend party, supported the unions, and they basically abandoned all of those things except for just more spending. But instead of even spending on the American people, they want to spend on illegals. They have been defending illegals for the last 5 years, starting at the border, where they wanted open borders, and then President Trump wins in 2024. Or back, should say 2016, starts to build the wall. Of course, the 2020 election comes, and Biden takes office. Trump wins again in 24, and Trump closes up the border within a matter of months and stops the illegal flow. But Democrats want to see us. They're defending the illegals that are here in the country, that are criminals, that are murderers, that are rapists, that are drug traffickers, human traffickers, and somehow those are the people that they defend. This is a very different Democrat Party than what my great-grandmother was a part of. And believe that they are on the wrong path, that the American people don't agree with them. They're doubling down on the illegal immigrants, boys and girls sports, and of course, they want to spend more and take more money out of the American people's pockets. I don't think it's a good recipe for them to find favor with the American people.
Yeah, this is not our grandparents' Democrat Party. I want to show a video from a Democratic presidential debate where all candidates raised their hands when asked if they wanted to help illegals. Take a look at this.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay.
And there you have it. They all raised their hand, Congressman.
It's, what do you say? I mean, they're literally all on TV. The illegals can't vote. They're not supposed to be voting. Now, I'm sure in some states, like California, Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts, they find ways to get the illegals to vote. But it makes no sense, Vanessa. And that's what's so hard to comprehend. Is there some grand plan that we're missing here? I don't think so. It's just a lack of common sense. And it's a lack of patriotism for America. And that they want to give benefits to illegals. And, that's one of the reasons why I think it's important, like in states like Indiana and Missouri and Texas and Ohio and others, where, they've taken advantage in these particular states, California and Illinois, they're sanctuary states. In our census in 2020, they counted, of course, all the illegals and the non-citizens in those states. They have, of course, more there than we do in states like Indiana. And I think that's why redistricting in Indiana is an important move for us to make in the legislature, because Hoosiers were at a disadvantage in Washington, D.C., because they, by the numbers, if it's 12 million illegals, whatever that number is, they're more than likely going to be in those sanctuary cities and states, and that they have more representation in Washington than what we do in Indiana. So that's why I support even our redistricting effort, because this is how they play games. They don't. They will do anything to keep the levers of power in Washington.
I am so glad you mentioned that. You know, when I was on the campaign trail, Congressman, a congressman at the time told me this same exact story. This is exactly what they were wanting to do. They were wanting to bring in the illegals by the masses, by the millions, like they did. That way they'd have to redistrict and then get more representation in Congress to keep control. That's a dirty trick. And so who is the victim here? The American people. And so that's exactly what they're trying to do. You mentioned the redistricting going on in your state of Indiana. Can you give us any updates there?
Yeah, I was actually with the governor last night, and he is supportive. Our lieutenant governor is supportive. A lot of the state house members are supportive. I've been hearing in the state senate that they don't have the support and the momentum like we would like to. That decision needs to be made here, of course, in the next couple of months. And so I'm, I just am so, concerned about the direction. If the Democrats win with these districts across the country that have taken representation away from states like Indiana and Missouri and Ohio and others, that the Democrats, if they win, they're going to go back to investigating President Trump. They're going to impeach President Trump. Let's remember what they did in the first term of President Trump, the Russia hoax, of course, the impeachments, and all that went with it. Of course, James Felmer now, who's been indicted for potential crimes that he committed while he was in office, especially lying to Congress. This is how the Democrats behave, and that's why it's so important. People say, well, that's not the way Republicans should behave. I would agree with that. But unfortunately, the Democrats have already maxed out their districts in states like California, Massachusetts, and Illinois. And Republicans, we've not done that. We've been trying to, be objective and look at these districts where that they make sense. The thing is, in Indiana, you can have a kindergarten class draw the 9 districts, and they would all be Republican. I would say right now that the Andre Carson district in Indianapolis is a protected district, and it should be redrawn. So that's where I'm hopeful that the state Senate comes through, because this does need to happen before the next election.
Absolutely. We'll be keeping an eye out on that going on in Indiana. So keep us posted on that. Going back to the shutdown, I know you've seen it. The president, he's President Trump, right? He uses memes all the time. He talks like he does. That's why we love him. He's very blunt in what he says. And he used a sombrero, Congressman, as a meme that started trending. The Democrats are crying racism. Taking a look at that right now. That was the meme that he posted. They say it's racist. Okay. However, their golden child in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, he's looking to tax white neighborhoods. And so nothing is being said about that. To me, that's very racist. If part of your plan is to tax the white neighborhoods more than you would the other neighborhoods, take a listen to this and then we'll get your reaction.
And realize there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on, saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now, what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website.
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right.
Not changing the language, but President Trump can't post a sombrero hat. What's your reaction?
Oh, I mean, this is Marxism, socialism, communism. I mean, the fact that they just literally saying we're going to tax this white neighborhood here, their policies have basically taken the American dream away from New Yorkers. It's not his fault, but previous mayors and, of course, the New York government, state and local, have ruined the American dream for New Yorkers. And the fact that now on average, and I'm sure it's probably higher in New York, but for a young person to buy a home, it's now 38 years of age rather than 28. And it's these terrible policies. And of course, they're now just saying it rather than I guess that's good. At least they're just so blunt that they're going to tell us that they're going to tax the white community more than they're going to tax the Black community or the Latino community. This is who they are. They want socialist, communist, Marxist sort of government, and they're just saying it more and more. Look at AOC. I mean, she's saying it out on the stump as well. And this is where I believe that the independent voters across the country are going to see that, and they're going to reject it. I hope so, because this is very dangerous. It's not even, them trying to just get their nose under the tent anymore. They just flat out say it. And I hope the American people believe what they say. This is something that, we can hear this candidate saying this and we can say, oh, he's just running a campaign. We have to believe them because this is who the Democrat Party has become.
Right, and it's very scary to look at how much they're loving this guy in New York. He's the heartbeat of their party now, and I think they're going to put him on a pedestal, congressman, and someone we're going to have to watch closely in the future. While I have you, I want to talk about, this is huge right now, Antifa clashing with ICE in major Democrat cities. We had an independent reporter, Nick Sorter, get arrested last night, and also a reporter get assaulted by Antifa this week just for being out there doing their jobs. Police arresting journalists and not the criminals. Harmeet Dillon saying just this morning that she is now investigating the arrest of Nick Sorter. This was in Portland. This is bad. I mean, if a reporter can't even go out and get video of these arrests or these protests, and then they're getting arrested or beaten up, what does that say for the future of journalism? It's just scary in these cities that they're arresting the wrong people.
Vanessa, if this would be even if a left-leaning or leftist reporter, they would be up in arms. But because this is an independent right-leaning journalist, nothing's being said. And again, I mean, it used to be that journalists stuck together on both sides of the aisle, and apparently not anymore, and especially not in Portland, where this is just so disturbing that this reporter gets involved with this tussle, and he's the one that's charged with a crime. And I just am so again glad that President Trump is in office and support him. If he sends the National Guard in, that is what we need to do. If this was a right-leaning reporter and Joe Biden was in office, they'd be sending the Marines in, because that's how strongly they believe in freedom of speech, as long as it comes from people on the left and people that they support in what they're saying. So again, very disturbing, but I believe that that's why the American people are seeing this. They're fed up with the Democrat policies. They're tired of the Democrat positions. Of course, the Democrat Party is always, as we talked about earlier, they're always defending the criminal rather than defending law and order, defending, people that are living according to the law, and those, of course, who defend it with our law enforcement. So this will be an interesting case to see what happens.
Right, and Nick Sorter has been posting since he was released. There was a hashtag trending, Free Nick Sorter. He has been released, and he says there's more to come, and he's threatening them to lawyer up. So you're right. Can't wait to see what comes out of this. now with the feds investigating as well. Any last words about the government shutdown? I know we're heading into the weekend, but as Kara mentioned earlier, it looks like President Trump is staying there at the White House, working through the weekend to try to get these Democrats to budge and strike a deal.
I think the best thing, and I hear this from constituents a lot this last week, is, keep the government shut down so President Trump can keep cutting federal government employees that we don't need. As I talk to small business owners, they always ask me, what's a non-essential employee? And because if you run a small business, every employee is essential. And that just doesn't connect with the everyday economy across the country. This morning, people are going to work. Trucks are out on the roads, bringing the harvest in. Combines are in the field, and people are going to work because that's what they all expect of themselves, and we expect of each other. And they expect Congress to work as well. And I believe that the Democrats are truly losing on this issue because of the message and that they're saying that they're holding out for health care for illegals that was cut in the big, beautiful bill. And so I think in the long run, they're going to pay for this politically.
All right. We'll continue to watch it over the weekend and then into Monday. Congressman, so good to have you on. Thanks so much for joining us here on Spin Room.
But thank you for having me.